So Liz Cheney was defeated in her campaign for re-election by a right-wing MAGA Republican in the primary. But now she's talking about running for president. Let's talk about it in today's video.
In our nation's 246-year history, there has never been an individual who is a greater threat to our republic than Donald Trump. He tried to steal the last election using lies and violence to keep himself in power after the voters had rejected him. He is a coward. A real man wouldn't lie to his supporters. He lost his election, and he lost big. I know it, he knows it, and deep down, I think most Republicans know it. Lynn and I are so proud of Liz for standing up for the truth, doing what's right, honoring her oath to the Constitution, when so many in our party are too scared to do so. Liz is fearless. She never backs down from a fight. There is nothing more important she will ever do than lead the effort to make sure Donald Trump is never again near the Oval Office. And she will succeed. I am Dick Cheney. I proudly voted for my daughter. I hope you will too.
Hi, I'm Mike Greiner. I'm a lifelong Democratic activist who's concerned about the direction our country is taking. I'm also a lawyer and an academic, and I'm here to help you stand up to the BS of the MAGA crowd. So I have to say, I loved that ad with Dick Cheney. I find myself in an awkward position actually agreeing with the Cheneys. I mean, this is Dick Cheney, who was basically one of Richard Nixon's and Gerald Ford's hatchetmen, who was the vice president who pushed us into the war in Iraq, and who helped to weaponize patriotism as a divisive issue, which is something it shouldn't be divisive at all. And yet here he is speaking truth. I have to say, I think the reason that he's speaking truth, frankly, is more because of the courage of his daughter than his own courage. Liz Cheney, frankly, deserves real respect. She certainly was on the track to become the Speaker of the House, having risen into the Republican leadership in the House. She was in the number 3 position in the leadership when she was basically ousted as a result of the fact that she refused to go along with the big lie about Donald Trump and the election. Now, does that mean that I'm suddenly going to start supporting Lynn Cheney? Well, if I'd been on Wyoming, I probably would have voted in the primary for her, just because of the fact that no Democrat's ever going to win that state. But when it's a race between Liz Cheney and another potential Democrat who could actually win, well, there's really not much choice there. I mean, you have to remember, this is the Liz Cheney who basically has an extremely right-wing voting record, who celebrated when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. This is not some progressive. You've got to actually give her credit for the fact that she's somebody who basically stands by her beliefs. In this era, especially when you look at the way the Republican Party has behaved, people who do that are all too rare. Does Liz have a chance if she runs for president? Well, I can tell you the answer to that is clearly no. The Republican Party, as I pointed out in another video, is basically owned at this point by Donald Trump. The grassroots support whatever he does, and as a columnist pointed out, the scariest thing about Republicans right now is that even though they acknowledge the fact that Donald Trump probably has committed crimes, they don't care. There literally is this situation that he described at one point where he could have shot someone on Fifth Avenue and they'd still vote for him. Because guess what? He might not have shot someone, but he stole nuclear secrets, and they're still voting for him. I sure wouldn't want to see Liz Cheney run as an independent for president, because unfortunately what could happen there is she could actually draw away some votes that might go to the Democrat who are opposed to Donald Trump, assuming he's the Republican nominee, which I have to say, it's looking increasingly like he's going to be. In fact, it would really be challenging for her, frankly, to run as an independent, because it's hard to get access to the ballots in all 50 states to be competitive in that way. But what is interesting is if she ran as a Republican, even though she's widely disliked in the Republican Party, she has enough support there, just enough support, that she might be able to get on the debate stage. Now imagine this. Say the Republicans have a primary debate that includes Donald Trump and Liz Cheney. Ooh, boy, I'd love to see that. Unlike the other cowards who really didn't know how to deal with Donald Trump in the last election, Liz Cheney is someone who has the courage of her convictions and will be perfectly comfortable standing up with him and reciting the facts and breaking through the Fox News bubble that surrounds the Republicans and keeps them ignorant of so many of the facts about Donald Trump. It's just possible that in so doing, Liz Cheney might provide a real service to America, just the way she's been doing over the last 2 years. Her commitment to making sure that he's never president again, frankly, is something that's to be admired. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to vote for her. Well, as it turns out, Liz Cheney's not the only Republican who's critical of the MAGA crowd. It turns out that Chief Justice John Roberts of the Supreme Court also is. Why don't you check out this video over here where I describe some very pointed words he had about the MAGA crowd. I'll see you then. In the meantime, let's hope for continued progress. Thank you.